Today on the Springfield Report, we bring you a special report about a fast-growing industry. Craft breweries have taken Missouri, and specifically Southwest Missouri, by storm. I spoke with representatives from two of the well-known breweries in Springfield to get a taste of the culture and how their businesses got started. My first stop was to White River Brewery, located on Commercial Street.
My name is Alonzo King, and I am the brewery representative for White River Brewing Company. White River was originally started in 2007 with our owner, Mr. Buzz Hosfield, and his two sons, and his two stepsons actually. Well, they started getting into it, and his stepsons thought that the brewery business might be a little too much, so they moved to Oregon and left Buzz with a brewery. Well, the place kind of sat here for a couple of years, didn't know what to do with it, until he enlisted the help of Mr. Dave Lamb. Dave Lamb's been brewing beer here in the Ozarks for about 35 years. And Buzz has had a successful career in baking in California over the past 40 years. So between their two powers combined, they had the first test batch August 18th, 2012. And as far as Springfield goes, at our brewery, our head brewer is born and raised in the area, and he wanted to pick an area that was already very well established with craft beer, and not just craft beer, with homebrewing as well. Our head brewer, Mr. Dave Lamb, he started up the first homebrew store here in the Ozarks, and after that we just felt that Springfield was a good fit. Well, as far as our contribution to craft beer in the community here in Springfield, we reach out to a lot of people who are all about local, and our name being White River and us being here in Springfield, not only are we named after a river that basically provides all the water for all the lakes we know around here, but we also have every one of our beers are named after a tributary that feed into the White River. So with that sort of connection and a lot of the outdoorsiness that comes with living in the Ozarks, whether it's going on a float trip or fishing or hiking, whatever it is, that's how we feel we connect with our community.
Did you know Missouri was home to nearly 20 breweries? 3 of them are right here in Springfield, Missouri. Mother's Brewing Company was my next stop, and I was graciously guided through the brewery by the owner himself, where we talked about the culture and how he got his business started right here in the Ozarks.
I'm Jeff Schrog, and I'm the owner of Mother's Brewing Company. We began Mother's Brewing Company. The idea was the day after Thanksgiving 2008. It took me about 2.5 years to get opened. We brewed our first batch of beer April 1, 2011, and we sold our first beer to the public in May of 2011. So a little over 2.5. So I wanted to do something bigger. I wanted to do something that I could do from downtown Springfield where my other businesses are. And I'm a beer drinker and a beer lover. And so I looked at maybe some other types of alcohol, like a winery, but that would take me from downtown. And just one day I read an article about extreme craft beers and all the creative things that people were putting in beers. And I thought, wait a minute, I could brew as good a beer as anybody in the world right here in downtown Springfield, Missouri. So that was the genesis of the dream. When I started this idea in 2008, I looked around, and at that time the national average for consumption of craft beer was a little over 5%. Missouri as a whole was the 3rd lowest state for craft beer consumption, about 2.5%. So I said, well, what a wonderful opportunity. As long as your sales are lower than the national average, you've got gravity pulling you up. Since that time, nationwide sales have grown to about 6% in the last 5 years, so a full percent. And I know that the craft beer percentages continue to grow in southwestern Missouri. Do I see new breweries coming? Absolutely. The trend right now in craft beers is very, very small breweries called nanos, where they sell most of their beer on site or to very few local accounts. These breweries are great because they add excitement, they add ideas to the industry, but they don't have the volume to actually compete with more established, larger breweries on the shelf. So it's a real win-win for the entire industry. I see more and more nano breweries popping up in southwestern Missouri. I tell you what, I knew that we could be an anchor for downtown Springfield, but when someone asks me, you know, how have you fit in with the culture, I didn't expect us to be able to change the culture of southwestern Missouri. When I started, you could not find 15 tap handles of India Pale Ale in all of southwest Missouri, there were not 15 handles. And now they're ubiquitous, and it's our fastest growing beer. I didn't expect to be able to change the beer tastes in a region, but I thought I could influence some things in downtown Springfield.
With the holidays right around the corner, here are some expert opinions about what kind of beer you should pair with your holiday dinner.
Right now, the best beer you could probably have with your holiday dinner would be our Jam Up Blackberry Ale. It's our fall seasonal beer, but there's still some of it out, even though we're right in the heart of winter. And we also have another winter ale coming out. We released it last year. It's called Old Mill Ale. It's what you call a winter warmer. It is very, very good. It's a very malt-forward beer, but it has a little bit of sweetness to it and a dark roastiness that makes it a perfect pair between you, a fireplace, and a nice snowy day.
Three Blind Mice is our best all-around food pairing beer. It's our #1 seller. It's very versatile, so if you're having ham, it works. It's light enough not to overpower turkey. Would go great, with dressing and potatoes and things. Don't underestimate Winter Grind. Winter Grind is our #1 selling seasonal, and it's our winter seasonal, and it is a very coffee-forward beer, and it just goes wonderfully.
Now that you know a little bit of craft brewery, check out White River Brewery or Mother's Brewing Company here in Springfield to get a taste of life. That's it for today on the Springfield Report. I'm Katie Brady. Thanks for listening.